You're listening to the Nothing Podcast with Nobody Important, where a group of nobodies speak to an actual somebody. And now your hosts, John and Frank.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm John.
I'm Frank.
And you are listening to the Nothing Podcast.
With Nobody Important.
Here we are again. And we got to sit down this time with a very interesting guest.
He's super important because he defends our law.
That's right. He upholds the law of the nation.
So Josh is a personal injury lawyer is one of the things that he does. He's very good at it. I know that because his website says he's very good at it.
That's always a telling. That's very telling.
Right.
And he got to help us a little bit with some of the cases that we had some questions about, including a returning member of our team, Joe, has had some very interesting run-ins with what should have been the law, except he just decided to walk away from it.
Right. Run-ins, run-overs, it's really all the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, regardless of Joe's mishaps, I think this was a really interesting episode.
Objection.
Sustained.
Overruled, counsel.
Fair enough. Let's welcome our guest this week,
Joshua Lockamy, attorney at law.
Okay, big episode. John, we have to be on our best behavior today.
I'm so ready because I know that I can be caught at any minute.
You could be caught. So today we have a guy who's very cool. He's a big podcast lover, and he's a lawyer.
Wow. Big-time lawyer.
I don't know about big time.
Well, I mean, to me, you're a big-time lawyer. I don't know any other lawyers, so.
Fair enough. If you don't know any lawyers,
then you're the biggest.
Then I'm the biggest time lawyer you'll ever know.
That's right.
Josh, where are you from? Because your accent is...
Originally, I'm from North Carolina.
Wow.
I went to...
like we're so... Like, wow.
Was that a real place?
Like you said you were from the Sudan.
I was going to say... It sounds like I just said I was from, like, Taiwan or something.
Say something else. Say a better place, and we'll give you a better reaction. Josh, where are you from?
Lebanon.
All right,
Wow,
anyway, so,
okay, who cares?
so Josh, what made you want to be a lawyer in the first place?
Oh, God. I was bad at math.
Is that really what it was?
Yeah. I didn't want to do science. I didn't want to do the hard sciences when I was in college. My father was a math instructor in high school and was like a computer genius guy, and I knew I could never go that route, and so I didn't really know what I wanted to do other than like be a professional and have a real job and get an education. So I kind of just naturally went down this path of political science major, then I'll go to law school, and then I'll become a lawyer, which is not what I recommend to anyone else in the world.
Oh, yeah?
Don't do it that way. If that's the only reason why you're becoming a lawyer, don't become a lawyer.
Right, don't become a lawyer because you have no other choice.
Correct.
Did you like to argue a lot as a child, and then someone was like, "Oh, you'd be a great lawyer"?
That's what people used to tell me all the time because I never shut up. They were always like, "You should be a lawyer," and I never really understood what the correlation was. But
again, it's a really bad reason to become a lawyer.
Right. I hate law completely. I don't really care what anybody does, but I can't stop talking. So this is what I do.
Well, you got to think about that. I like to run my mouth and argue about things that I don't completely understand. So therefore, I'm going to be a great lawyer. That's exactly why you would be a very bad lawyer.
Right. Got it. I'm just going to talk. I don't really know what I'm talking
Correct.
about.
Yeah,
right.
Which is exactly what you don't want your lawyer to do.
Right.
But no, and a lot of people, honestly, I feel like they do become attorneys just by, I guess, by process of elimination.
Sure. But how could that be? It's not an easy path. You got to be smart. You can't just be a
lawyer.
Like
The only thing I would say is that that's probably why the system is set up the way it is. We want it to be hard to become an attorney because you don't want just any jackass to become an attorney. Can I swear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Of course.
And that's probably the one thing I'll agree with that a lot of young people probably would disagree with. I think it's actually a good thing that it's very, very difficult to become a lawyer, and I think it should be more difficult.
I agree.
Because you don't want people to just decide, hey, I'm good at arguing, or I don't like math, so I'm going to become a lawyer. You got to have a little fight to you to be successful in a profession like this. And so it's better for you to figure that out while you're in school than opposed to when you're representing other people.
Right. When you have other people's lives in your hands.
Yes, or money or whatever.
Or that'd be great to have the money in your hands.
So no, I'm always a little confused, and I know this is kind of getting into it early, but a partner, right? Mm-hmm. You hear they talk about that on TV. I'm going to make partner. Mm-hmm. They say.
Yep.
And so that is like the owner of the law firm, and then you can be a full-time lawyer. Full-fledged lawyer and not be a partner, is that right?
You get to be on the awning.
Right.
Yeah, well, okay. How do I explain all of this? Generally a partner, just to answer your question specifically, generally a partner is someone that has, say, an equity stake in the firm. Meaning firm in second quarter of 2019 makes X amount of dollars in profit. The partnership agreement entitles him to whatever that is. And it'll also usually include, does he bring in his own book of business or certain billable hours he's responsible for. Usually that's what it means. Now, there is an associate attorney who does not have an equity stake in the firm, and a lot of times, basically, they're just paid based on whatever hours they bill.
Okay. So, which are you?
I don't operate in that. However, the world you're asking me about is a world I don't operate in.
Oh, okay.
There's several different models and several different worlds as in being an attorney. And you could, I could explain this all day, I guess. And I said I wasn't going to talk very much about my wife, but my wife worked. My wife.
The only thing you
Here
said.
it is.
My wife worked in this world for many years, which is really more where my understanding comes from than actually being an attorney. She worked for big corporate firms, which is a different world than what I'm involved in. And these are the firms that you see, like Wall Street firms. Their offices are at, whatever Wall Street, or they're up on Park Avenue, Lexington Avenue, and they have 500 attorneys all over the world, and they represent a lot of corporate interests, mergers and acquisitions, protecting banks when they buy stocks, a lot of compliance, and those are the people billing their clients at like $1,100 an hour.
Right.
And they all just kind of do this sort of corporate compliance practice. I don't know anything about that, and I've never been involved in any of that.
All right, well, you got to go. Thank you, Josh, everybody. That was Josh.
Peace out. Sorry, if that's all you want to know about, I'll go home.
And he's a fake lawyer.
Yeah, sorry. No, what I do is more, I guess you could say, representing individual clients in individual cases.
Almost freelance.
No, I don't do anything for free.
Okay,
No,
that's
but like you don't have to. They don't have to go through channels to get to you per se, right? They could just call you up.
Yeah, they walk in my office and hire me.
Right.
Okay.
Like a detective, like a
It's
private.
I
whole-
just thought that.
Right.
Yeah, you see the silhouette through
Yeah.
the door.
She came in my office.
But it's
Smoky
not
night.
it's not to say that my area of practice is any smaller than
Oh,
the
no, I
corporate
wouldn't imagine it
practice.
is.
And in fact, if you go to a courthouse right now, like we're in Kings County right now, if you went to the Kings County Civil Courthouse, probably 85% of the attorneys in that courthouse would be doing what I do.
Right.
They're the ones that are in there representing people, whether it's an insurance company, whether it's a property owner, or whether it's somebody who slipped and fell, or somebody in a car accident, or a medical malpractice case. That's the bulk of what non-corporate attorneys do.
I would imagine that what you're doing has more heart in it than a corporate attorney, because,
Yeah.
doesn't it feel good to get the old lady money who slipped in the grocery store on the milk versus the guy who's suing Facebook?
Certainly.
Who cares?
Certainly. And that was one reason I started out in this business, actually representing insurance companies. When I was in law school, I clerked for major premises liability insurance carriers in New York, and they're the people that insure the big buildings in New York City. If somebody falls down a staircase and sues the building, they represent them on the liability. Or they insure a business and someone gets hurt while they're working, they represent the business. That's how I cut my teeth. I did that for several years, and then I decided I want to switch to the plaintiff side, kind of for what you were saying. I didn't want to work for, rich corporate interests my entire career, and I at least wanted to give it a shot.
But so now, does that give you the option to only really take cases that you believe in? I mean, I know that that's kind of a romanticized version of it, but you don't have to take a case if you don't think that person's something worth fighting for.
Certainly, and I do, and my firm does regularly turn down cases that we don't think, for various reasons, are worth pursuing. I always tell people there's 3 magic things: liability, meaning there was someone at fault other than you for what happened to you. 2, injuries, meaning there is something wrong with you because this accident happened. And 3, coverage. which is there is an insurance carrier or someone with money to pursue. Because the only thing I can ever do for anyone is get them money for the injuries they suffered.
Right.
So if I got those three things, I'll do it.
So you're not in the realm of sending people to jail per se.
No.
Because people don't go to jail usually because they own the house you slipped in.
No, no one's going to jail. Yeah, it's a
You
civil.
didn't fix that crack?
Yeah.
The big house for you.
Yeah. No, that's not what it's about. Basically, the only people that can send anybody to jail is the district attorney, and they work for the state. If you don't work for the state, you can't send anybody to jail.
Right.
And that's actually an important point when I try a case. One of the things I do tell a jury during jury selections is, like, look, this is just a civil case. No one is in danger of going to jail. No one is in danger of losing any licenses. No one's going to get any fines from the government or be shut down in any way. The only thing I'm here for is an appropriate amount of money to compensate my client for what they've been through because somebody did the wrong thing.
That's a smart move, though, because now they're not hesitant to let the guy pay because they know he's not going to lose his business.
Right. Well, also, you got a guy who's like a professional truck driver or something, and he hits somebody, and maybe somebody's sympathetic because they don't want this guy to lose his license or whatever. You got to let people know you're just there for compensation for your client. That's all you're doing.
Right.
So, Josh, you're an esquire.
Yeah.
Joshua Lockamy,
Yes.
Esquire.
How do I become an Esquire?
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
I
What
want
does
to be
that
an
mean?
Esquire.
You have to go.
Not in Esquire magazine.
You have to go to undergraduate school and obtain some sort of degree. It has to be a 4-year degree in some sort of field. You can
I
do
have
it.
one.
Yeah, I
Then you have to do 3 years of law school.
Oh no! Oh, I still can't check off that box.
That's the catch right there.
And you have to actually pass law school.
Oh, that's where Joe failed. That's
Excuse
the
me,
problem.
L. Woods, Esquire over here.
And then you have to take the bar exam.
Go to the bar.
Oh, there's a lot of
This is not-
This is just for
And
time.
then you have to be admitted in a state. Then you can call yourself an Esquire.
I've been admitted before.
Matt's admitted to not being an Esquire.
Yes.
Do you remember your first trial?
Well, it depends on what you mean by trial.
You know, the room, the guy up on the thing,
mean first-
the hammer.
The white wig.
Right. I had several misdemeanor bench trials before I ever had a real jury trial. I think probably the most interesting thing is their first real jury trial, where I actually had to go in and pick a jury and ask people for money for what happened to my client. And yes, I do remember that. That was
Did you win?
quite the experience. Yes, I did.
No, I haven't.
I was disbarred on the spot.
On the
I
spot,
was
they
out.
rolled me out of that. Would have been a better story. But no, they awarded my client a whopping $10,000.
Wow.
But that was a win for you.
I was just excited that I asked the jury for money, and they actually gave me some.
yeah, sure.
Wow.
I didn't care about anything else.
When you graduate law school, do they give you a white seersucker suit to wear?
The court, like
Yeah.
they
And
do
a
it
fan?
in North Carolina. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in New York.
Josh, when did you decide to sell your soul to the devil? Because I hear that's common in your profession.
Let's see, 2009-ish.
Okay.
A question that Danielle had, because Danielle's not here with us on this episode today, and she sent me a couple of questions.
Yes, I'm hot.
Yeah. Well, that's that's an answer I'm going to give her. You came in flexing, because you're swole, as it were. Did you ever want to do anything else, or you knew like you said? I know you said that you were like bad at math and whatever, but like.
I wanted to be a baseball player, but that was the only other thing I really wanted to do.
Right.
What do you really want to do?
Right. Who knows? I don't know what I want to do, and I'm 30 now.
I want to lay around and watch something interesting on television and not get robbed.
But now, I want to not get robbed. So people always know, like doctors, lawyers, for making the most amount of money. This is a thing. Is this true? Lawyers make a ton of money.
Because in the game of life, that's one of the cards you always want to draw.
100%.
You don't want
Sure.
teacher.
That's where I learned that.
Right. You want to tutor house.
Mhm.
You want to be a lawyer.
I will say that lawyers in my profession, what I do, I can't necessarily speak to the other types of lawyers we talked about before, the corporate guys, those kinds of guys. There are a small number of them that make a good deal of money. Okay. Most of them make only a very modest or moderate amount of money. And I think that it really has to do with two things. One is the level of dedication you're willing to put into the field, and two, just an overall skill set.
So the better you are, the more money you'll make.
Yes, and in my line of work, especially on the plaintiff side, it's almost directly correlated.
So hold up your fingers to show us how much money you made last year.
He has grown 15 more fingers.
Right.
And his toes are out. Okay.
No, but we discussed before, you do have your hourly rate is pretty fantastic.
Well, let me say, I don't normally charge an hourly rate. Usually with what I do, I take a contingency fee in what I recover ultimately for the client.
Okay.
When I say I bill it something, it means if you're going to make me do something for you that's not in my normal field of personal injury law,
Right.
like come in and give an interview on a podcast, I'll
Right.
send you
Which is why I'm counting bills right
correct.
now.
Yeah, I'll send you a bill for $350 an hour.
Wow. We could scrap that together.
We can make
Right.
it. Matt, just get
Matt.
out of the bank, thanks.
Yeah.
Do you always win fights with your wife?
No.
Okay.
But let's go further into that. That sounds like you're just asking randomly. You have to be good at arguing.
Right.
Yes.
So you say that with a good deal of confidence, which
Yes.
I love. Explain. How do you know you're so good? Because you win cases or because you see other people failing in discussions with you?
A little bit of both. But however, I will say the thing with the wife is actually a good point. You argue all day or you fight all day. One thing you must learn how to do is to not take that shit home. I don't lawyer my wife. For one thing, my wife was a paralegal for longer than I've been an attorney. So she knows when I'm lawyering her, and she'll tell me to shut up. The other thing is you don't bring it home. You just don't. If you're ever going to be a happy person, you just don't bring it home.
So now, because what made me think of that is that, again, we keep going back to doctor because for some reason they're so closely associated in my mind in just the level of importance. So like a doctor, you can only go to school and learn so much. You have to have a general talent to you.
Right. A proclivity to do it.
Exactly. So when did you know first that you were charismatic? If you'd say that you have to be charismatic to be a lawyer, maybe that's a myth. Maybe that's not the truth. I don't know.
In what I do, there is a certain level of charismatic. However, I do not believe that is anywhere near the most important thing. But when did I learn I was good at what I was doing? After I spent several thousand hours believing I was very bad at what I was doing.
Well, good. I'm almost there then.
Wow. You're only 1,000 more to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Josh, here's a hypothetical. If you saw someone get hit by a car,
Oh, this is a good one.
would
Yeah,
your
yeah.
first instinct be to help them or to think about how much money you could make?
Help them.
Why?
Because my first instinct in life is always don't be a dick lawyer.
Wow. You're aware of the stereotype.
Yes.
Okay, this brings me to Danielle's other main question that she wanted me to ask you was, are you a scumbag? This was the real question. She sent me a question and she said, lawyers are always shown to be these like scummy, and she's like, are you a scumbag? Would you say?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Oh, stop
I knew it. Do you know a lot of other lawyers? You can't say, I know we're not going to say who, but you know a lot of other lawyers who you would look down at and go, that guy's a scumbag. He's only after the money. Like, are they out there?
Well, actually, I'll stop it here. I'll say this. Yes, there are certainly attorneys that I know that are scumbags. However, as a broad profession and a broad experience in the profession, which I've had over 15 years, I will say that probably 98% of the attorneys I deal with are actually trying to do a good job and are trying to do the right thing by their client and are trying to get up and do everything they can for their clients every single day. And I mean, it's 98 plus.
Well, that's great to know.
Yes.
It makes you feel good knowing that.
I'm not saying they're all good at it.
No,
Oh,
but
I
their
am
heart's
saying-
in the right place.
I am saying that is what they are trying to do.
Josh, do you say objection?
Yes.
You do this. So we're going to go around the room and we're all going to say objection. And could you just tell us if we did a good job?
Okay.
All right, Matt.
Objection.
Well done.
Okay, Joe.
Objection.
Overruled, Joe.
It's a little dramatic. Yeah.
I'm going to do it like this trial's been going on for so long and it's hot in here. How I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Objection.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was good.
That's like,
I
you're
know.
real fed up.
But what do you think?
Depends on the context.
Well, I told you, the context. It's hot.
If you've had to object to the same
The
damn
same thing.
thing,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
5 times, yes, that's a good one.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'm gonna do it like I'm me suddenly having to defend someone. Objection?
Doesn't know if he should do it or not. Josh didn't answer that one.
Depends on whether or not you want the judge to give you a wedgie or...
Right.
Okay.
All right. So Tom's going to do it.
Tommy Tree Frog.
So this is just coming off of a true story. When I did jury duty a couple of years ago, I was so pent up with gas, I had to take a shit. So I'm going to do it like I have to leave. Objection.
He's running the hell out of here.
I felt it.
Too bad this is an audio.
What is that? That's the objection. I got to take a shit objection?
So we have a special guest in the studio today.
Yeah. Tree Frog,
boy.
Tom's wife.
Tree Frog, Tom's
Wife to be.
wife to be. Taylor is here filling out in the Danielle spot because we didn't have a female here. So go ahead.
Give us a lady
Give us
objection.
a lady objection.
My lady objection comes from my grandmother's a judge,
Oh.
Why didn't we know that before?
What?
and
Wait a second. I'm out. I got to go.
so every time I speak to her on the phone, she tells me to go to law school, and I have to ask her who's paying for it, and then the conversation kind of dies from there. So objection.
Oh, she's like, I'm not paying for it.
That's it.
Where's your grandmother a judge?
She was a judge in Long Island, and then she taught law school for quite a while.
Where did she teach?
Oh my God.
I don't some SUNY.
SUNY.
She's 5 feet tall. She looks like Doris Day.
Yeah.
And she's
Bader Ginsburg?
93.
What's up?
And when she would babysit us, she would give us her students' homework, which was one time
That sounds
a
horrifying.
worksheet of is it sexual assault or battery. And we
I love that game.
We should play that game with you.
Let's play it.
Wait a minute. She's 93?
Yeah,
Was she the first judge? Was
She was very. I mean,
The judge on
So
the
you wanna-
she
Titanic.
went to law school with Mario Cuomo, but
Hey,
I
Judge,
think that
what's
might
the
be a
last
lie.
word?
I don't
Well,
know.
Mario Cuomo's 93 years old.
That's impressive.
No, not Andrew. Mario.
Not
his
Andrew,
dad.
Mario.
So Josh, really quick. Stenographers. I think they're impressive.
Yes.
Did you ever get into a fight with your wife and go, I wish I had a stenographer here to kind of track back what we argued about to tell you that I'm right?
No, but it's a good idea.
Follow up.
I'm going to start bringing one home with me every night.
How do they write everything?
Court reporters are
70s.
amazing people. No, court reporters are amazing people, and I've actually, one thing I've done a lot of in civil litigation is I've done thousands and thousands of depositions. And these people go through so much. So many asshole attorneys yelling at each other, and so many witnesses that can't answer a question to save their lives, and they just take down everything. They're just so they're some of the most professional people you can ever deal with.
Why don't we just audio record now, though? Why do we need this in writing?
Well, part of it is because most of the attorneys doing this are really old school, and they want transcript, and the judges are even older, and
No offense, Taylor.
yeah, I mean, and then part of it is you need sort of like a written record on some of this stuff. You just want it to be. You just want it to be on paper.
So that's interesting to me you say that because I come from a history of closed captioning. That's my background.
Yeah.
And lately I've been looking into being a court stenographer. And it's something that I've been looking into. First of all, city job, and it pays a ton
It does pay a lot of
from
money.
the get-go.
Really?
But it's because you have to really work at
You
it.
gotta be good. Yeah.
Now, it's a special type of keyboard. Just to answer your question, it's a special kind of keyboard. It's a shorthand keyboard that you have to learn. So, like, you have to type at a certain speed first, which I'm at. And then when you go to school, it's basically a full degree. It's like truncated into 2 years, but it's a full course in learning how to use their equipment. And it's nonstop.
It's a very difficult profession.
Yeah, I still sometimes consider going into it, but it's like I don't know if I could.
It's
work
like
that
learning
hard.
to be an electrician or something.
It really
Like,
is,
you-
yeah.
You have to you'd have to really dive into it. Actually,
If you look at John's hands, though, do you think he has the hands of a court reporter?
They're a little stubby, little Elton John.
I was gonna say,
He plays the piano while the...
yeah. Well,
I do
you
play
can
the
do it.
piano.
You can
Do you
do
think
it.
he can do it? I mean, he has
Yeah.
10 digits.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what
And
you
I mean,
need.
I could really bring a nice young demographic because of my knowledge, all the courts reporters are like 93. Wow, that's pretty specific. They all started with Taylor's grandmother.
I'll say you closed caption with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, we're gonna rate some things.
Yeah,
with
this is
you
something
now.
that we like to do on the show. We like to just throw our guest a list of things that we associate with your profession, whether or not they're really associated with your profession.
Okay.
You just
So
rate
you
them however
let
you
us
want.
know. 1 to 10, like it, don't like it. Go ahead, Frank.
If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit.
10.
Law of attraction.
0.5.
Matlock.
Love.
Good.
Law of physics.
Interesting, but irrelevant.
Doesn't matter. But wait a minute. No, yeah, your whole job deals with stuff falling. That's gravity. That's
Yeah,
law.
you need that.
People gotta fall. That's not irrelevant.
They slip on milk.
I
Objection.
They slip on milk. They float up.
Yeah.
Josh doesn't have
Well,
a job.
They broke the law of gravity, so they floated away instead.
That sounds like a Roald Dahl novel.
Yeah.
Okay, this is specific. When Atticus Finch shoots the dog.
3.5 out of 5.
He was a good shot, though. And it was a rabid dog. I'd like to go on record for that. Okay?
That's a 3.5 out of 5, just to clarify. Not out of 10.
Out of 5?
10 out of 5.
Oh, good, okay.
Good. Law of the land. Listen.
Misguided.
Okay.
Okay. Jerry Orbach donating his eyes.
Love that one.
No idea.
Yeah. So he
did.
played the lawyer on
Law and Order.
Law and Order. And when he died, he donated his eyes. Somebody's out there with Jerry Orbach's eyes.
Correct.
Imagine you looked him in the face and you're like, I've seen you before.
I missed
And they're
that.
like, I've seen you
I missed that.
before.
That I didn't know. That's interesting.
But now that you know it, you like it.
That's interesting.
He's like, no, it still doesn't matter. He's an actor who played a lawyer.
Right. I still say it's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all.
I'm going to say law of the Old Testament.
This was a vengeful God.
Important.
Yes, we're going to get back into that after the rating. I have a question about it.
Okay. Judge Judy.
Interesting.
Okay, she's not going to hear this, so you could have
No,
said
of course,
anything. Okay.
We should have her on.
And here she is. Okay.
What about martial law?
Again.
Sort of law of the land. It's the same thing.
Yeah, not really relevant.
Okay.
Not relevant. Okay. Salino or Barnes?
Salino.
Oh, wow. Going Salino.
Wow.
I could have sworn he was a Barnes man.
He looks like a Barnes guy.
I would have pegged you for a Barnes man.
I know both of them. So.
You actually know them?
Yes.
Oh!
My God. Okay.
Salino and Barnes. He knows them both. That's well, they're injury attorneys. Of
Of
course
course
would
you know them.
Yep.
Where's your song?
Do you have a jingle?
No.
Now you do.
well,
Let's
we
do
gotta
it.
write him a
All right.
jingle.
Can we
Yeah,
do it
should
right
come up
now?
with them.
Okay, so
Okay.
what's the last name?
Lockamy.
I don't do jingles. There's a reason.
Oh.
Well, we do.
Well, okay. Well, let's find
you
your
can do a
reason,
jingle.
and then we're gonna
There's
do
a
it anyway.
reason. Because here's what the real deal is. I have to go in front of juries and actually try cases. Here's what you don't know. Salino and Barnes never goes in front of juries to try cases.
Because they would just sing the song at them.
To hire other attorneys to do it. So if I go into say I had a jingle and I said, "Hey, I'm Joshua Lockamy, I represent so and so," and they would start singing the jingle or think I'm some kind of a joke or whatever. You don't advertise if you're doing what I do.
Right.
The guys that advertise get the cases. Then they send them to people like me.
Okay, I like it. So you're. Is there another name to associate with you, or just Josh Lockamy?
Well, no, my firm is Zinbarg, Myrill Associates.
No, we can't.
We
This is
can't
too
sing
much. Okay,
bar.
here we
Nothing
go.
wrong with
This
You
is
can't
nothing
sing
rhymes with
Zinbarg.
Nothing rhymes with orange. All right, here we go.
Okay, we're gonna
line
get-
for line? You want the rhyming line? though? That's going to be hard.
I'll give you the rhyming line.
Okay, so I'm
You
going to start.
give me the
Okay.
This could be interesting.
Here we go. But
Okay.
I want you to close your eyes. Picture your faces on TV. We wrote the jingle. We get royalties. Here we go.
Somebody give us a beat.
Anyone going to beat?
Don't bang on the table. Give us a beat.
Don't hurt yourself.
If you slip and fall.
You know who to call.
This is Ghostbusters now? Come on.
Okay, all right, we'll go again. We'll go again. We'll start again. Okay, ready? Okay,
Give us a different beat.
here we go.
If you say fall, I'm gonna call again.
Okay.
Just putting that out there.
There's nothing else that rhymes with it. What are you
Yeah,
gonna say?
All
What are you
right,
gonna say?
Okay.
See, now
That's
that
what you
sounds
got?
like Salino and Boris.
It does.
Whatever that was.
We
it's
don't need
not-
a beat. We don't need a beat. We
Yeah.
never needed a beat
Perhaps
ever.
not
Here
the
we
beat.
go. If you got hit by a bus,
Come to us.
That was pretty good. I was gonna say,
no, Josh, there's more.
Go on, go on.
Damn it.
Go on, Frank.
Start again. Here, we're keeping all this. Okay, here we go. There's asbestos in my lungs.
Oh, lungs. All right, I'm gonna give you the go line. I'm gonna give you the
thanks.
line. Okay,
Okay,
ready?
here we go.
Here we go.
Wait, have you heard anything you like so far?
Yeah. We're professional
Okay.
jingle writers.
We're
You
good
have
at
to
this.
understand.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just hit me with it.
When you need to be defended.
And the law needs to be amended.
You know exactly who to call.
When you slip and fall.
Yes. Wait. You're gonna rock me.
Lockamy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Joshua Lockamy, Esquire.
We have that
attorney at law.
recorded, yes?
Yes,
Excellent.
yes.
That was good.
What about Jude Law?
I was waiting for that one. That was brought to you by me.
Oh, way to take the credit,
Thanks,
Joe.
Joe.
Do you know who Jude Law is?
Yes.
Do you like Jude Law?
I was going to say he's cute.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, Tom.
I have 3 questions.
Three questions.
I'll make it fast.
All right, Tree
Hold
Frog.
on to these.
Okay.
Tree Frog Tom.
Outlaw.
Outlaw.
No.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Necessary and nothing to make fun of.
People who burn themselves on pasta water.
Can I get a repeat on that? Can I get that read back, Your Honor? I need a read back. Just a read back.
So people who burn themselves on pasta water and they try to sue the pasta company.
People that burn themselves with pasta water. There's no one to sue, first of all.
That's true.
Who are you going to sue? God? The pot. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you put the pot on the stove and heated up the water and burned yourself.
Hey, you see the commercial?
These are the people.
Oh, my pot fell.
These are the people I'd roll out of my office.
Roll them. You don't have no idea how many chairs he loses. Okay.
Because here's what happens. The anti-plaintiffs bar, the insurance bar, what they'll do is they'll take a woman, they'll take a case like the McDonald's case, and they'll say, this woman got awarded $1 million because she burnt herself, and that's how they say it, she burnt herself with hot coffee. She burned her leg with hot coffee, and she got $1 million. So then they get to go in there, and they get to use this, and the defense attorneys will bring that up when you're trying a case. What happened there? So you want to really know what happened to this woman? First of all, McDonald's had been warned for 20 years that their coffee was too hot. They had been fined multiple times as a corporation for keeping their coffee too hot. It was dangerously hot. The reason why they did it is because one of the founders of McDonald's likes really, really hot coffee. Yeah, and that's what you're showing is the damage that was done to this woman's genitalia.
Oof.
Oh, that's what I'm looking at?
Yeah, man. Those are folded legs, bro.
This woman.
Oh, no.
This woman burned. This woman got hot coffee from a drive-through.
Did she sit on it?
It looks like she took it, and I think she hit it on her steering wheel as she's putting it in her car, and it opened up, and she literally had to have reconstructive surgery on her genitalia because of the burn she received. And it was multiple surgeries. I actually, after you hear the story, think that $1 million verdict is a little bit low for what happened.
And so you would say that is McDonald's fault.
Absolutely. You've been warned and fined and told to cool your coffee off for 10 years. The whole reason why they keep it at a certain level is so people don't hurt themselves.
Actually, now there's another one. Their iced coffee's too cold. It's actually
Numbing
actually like
people's
Mr.
tongues.
Freeze. It's
Numbing
just-
the tongues.
And their tongues are falling out of their
That's
mouth.
wild.
Yeah, their
No,
tongues
but, I
are
mean, I
sticking.
can see where McDonald's is coming from in that how could that be our fault? Coffee is hot.
Well, that's not the point. The point is it's too hot. You get a pot of coffee out of your house and you spill it on your genitalia, whatever type of genitalia you have,
Well,
it's going to hurt.
Joe does that
Daily?
on purpose. On
Yeah,
purpose.
Freak 'em.
Sure, certainly. But it's going to hurt. But you're not going to have multiple surgeries. It's not going to cause permanent damage. That's the reason why they have these temperature levels for your coffee. It's a safety rule. Same thing with anything else.
Right. But, okay, so she got that money from the company.
Yes.
So now how often does that happen where a company is liable for the things that, like, for example, this is something that we were talking about before. If I'm at home and I'm getting something out of my fridge, eating my breakfast, I choke on my like Chobani yogurt or whatever it is I'm eating, and I choke on it. Is that Chobani's fault?
No.
No.
And there's an important distinction. Chobani hasn't done anything wrong.
Right.
In order for someone to be liable for what they did to you or what happened to you, they had to have done something wrong and been responsible for it.
So you're irresponsible with the Chobani, and that's not their problem.
Correct. But McDonald's was wrong because they kept their coffee at too high of a temperature that is dangerous to the human body. So sure as hell, you serve 1 million cups of coffee a month, somebody's going to burn themselves.
Right. But all joking aside, though, I'm under the impression people do try to sue companies for things that are definitely not the company's fault because they think something happens to them, they go, I'm going to sue, and they try to sue.
Absolutely, and those companies have a real right to defend themselves. They have a real mechanism to defend themselves, and they do defend themselves every day. And if that's one thing people don't understand about the civil justice system is if someone does bring a quote unquote bullshit claim, there is a real tried and true set of mechanisms for you to be able to investigate, prove that it's not a real legal claim, and to get it dismissed.
So the system works most of the time.
Yes.
Got it.
I'm with you.
So Josh, it's time. Have you ever acted before? I mean, you're acting like you're liking this, but have
Not
you acted?
professionally.
Okay, well, you're still not going to do it professionally.
Okay.
So we're going to
I'm
ask
not getting
you.
paid for this shit. I'm out.
No. So we're going to ask you to play yourself.
Right.
And here's the scenario. Now, John and I know this. Nobody else in the room knows it, but they're all going to be involved in it.
Okay. Yeah.
So here's the roles. So we're in a courtroom. I'm the judge. John is the defense. Joe and Tom are members of the jury. Taylor is the court reporter. And Matt over here is on the stand. Matt works in a banana peel factory where he slipped and fell. His legs snapped like twigs. You are suing for $15 million. Okay? You got the scenario?
Okay. Now,
Okay.
Remember, he works in a banana
Peel
peel
factory.
where they make.
There's several legal problems with the scenario
But
you just
you
set
gotta
up. But I'll
win.
play
You gotta
along with
win.
it.
You
Okay,
gotta
but
win.
wait a minute. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
This is really unprofessional of me, and I shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Can I play the judge? I want to say the
Okay.
silly stuff.
Okay, you got it. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to open with this. Let me change my voice. I'm saying this?
Yeah. Okay. Ready? Here we go.
In the podcast recording system, the listeners are represented by two separate but equally important groups. The guest, who knows exactly what he's talking about, and the nobodies, who don't know much but useless knowledge. These are their stories.
All right. Order into court, everybody. Order into court. Listen up. So,
Listen up.
this is what a professional. Excuse me, sir. Please go back to your seat. This is not what a professional does. I just banged my gavel before this. You didn't hear it. So, the defendant, Matt Hunt, is
Who's
right?
the defense attorney?
That would me.
Oh, okay. The defendant, Frank, is defending Matt Hunt, who broke his legs. No. He's defending the banana company. Josh is defending.
Josh is dying
I hope the
inside.
court reporter is getting all of this. All right. So, Josh, please make your case for Matt in the banana company.
What?
Okay.
Hold on.
Frank, take the stand.
These are our closing statements, or closing arguments.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute.
Oh, come on,
This
Josh.
could be
just
good.
Say about
Wait,
the
no.
thing.
This could be good, but you got to be specific about what we're doing.
Okay.
I'll allow
You
it.
said we have a witness on the stand. Are we questioning this witness?
Okay,
Or
yeah.
are we just going to stand up and say something?
No, how's
What are
the
we
point
doing?
if he's just sitting there? No, we're going to question him.
Overruled.
that's what I'm saying. Okay,
Overruled.
Here we go. We're back. Action.
So Matt's on the stand. Go ahead, question Matt. He slipped on the banana peels.
And you got to get him $15 million. I'll go first. Can I go first?
Makes it easier.
No,
Go
he's
for it.
my witness. If he's the plaintiff, if I'm the plaintiff's attorney and he's testifying, he's my
I will
witness.
hold this whole courtroom in contempt.
So Matt, hold on, wait, Matt. Okay, so you slipped on the banana peel.
Yes, 5 of them.
Okay, and what did you land on when you slipped? And I'm gonna lead him a lot more than I would just to get him somewhere.
I
leading,
landed
but
on.
Just to get him somewhere. I gotta get you somewhere. Okay.
Objection.
I landed on more banana peels.
Matt. So
What part of your body made contact with the ground, if any?
My legs and my knees.
Okay. So I understand you had to have a total hip replacement surgery because of this, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
2 total hip replacements.
And you were out of work for like 4 years because of this, right?
4 years, and it was actually 3 total hip replacements.
Yeah. Okay. And you now have to have a tube inserted in your ass so you can take a dump.
Correct.
Okay.
That's related to the banana peels, though.
And you haven't gotten laid in like 6 years, right?
Yes. but
Exhibit A,
that's-
we've got the tube here just to show.
So you're sitting on the stand right now and you're really backed up in every possible way, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
very uncomfortable, right?
all the bananas.
You could explode at any moment. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So-
yeah, go on, please.
In your factory,
Yes.
was
Banana
there,
peel factory.
was there someone who was supposed to clean up the banana peels?
Yes, it was me.
It was you.
Was there anybody else that was supposed to clean up the banana peels besides you?
Nope.
During your when did you start your shift?
12:30 p.m.
Okay, you got to work with me and establish a little bit of liability here, right? Okay. So
That's leading.
your
Objection.
shift, your shift
Overruled.
started at 12:30 p.m.
That's correct.
Now you fell on this banana peel at 12:32 p.m. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so when you got to work at 12:32 p.m., that means somebody else before you in the prior shift was cleaning up banana peels, correct?
That is correct.
And if you slipped on one of these banana peels, it means somebody else didn't do their job, correct?
Correct.
Excuse
And that
me,
person would have been employed by your employer, correct?
That is correct.
Meaning that respondent superior applies, and your employer will be liable for their negligence, correct?
That's what I'm
I have
hoping.
no further questions.
I want to give that. Let's not jump straight to the next thing. That's deserved.
I would like Taylor, the court reporter, has something to say.
Oh, I do?
Can you repeat back everything you just said?
Okay, my turn.
Let the record show the paper says everything he said in pencil.
Also,
Just that, though. It just says everything we said.
Let the record show that as a defense attorney, I'm wearing a very expensive Italian suit. It's cut well to my body. Here we go. Mr. Hunt, thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you.
Mr. Hunt, I have some surprise evidence which I am allowed to do in this courtroom.
I'm so surprised.
That's correct.
You said you got to work at 12:30. Is that correct?
I did.
Thank you. Here I have a surveillance footage from the employee break room. It would show you not wearing the regulation footwear. I believe you're actually wearing rollerblades, and I can see that you're... I have two more pieces of evidence.
Exhibit A, the rollerblade.
You're rubbing soap on the bottoms of them. And here's a text message, Matt, that you sent to your wife that said, "I'm going to get that money, honey."
Oh, and let the record show there are 3 banana emojis in the text message.
And then she responded, "Slip and fall, baby."
That's it.
So, yeah, what do you think?
I believe they were both arguing against Matt, if I'm not agreeing.
No, you're for
I
Matt.
think that, Your Honor, we
Yes.
need to
We need to break.
have a bit of a voir dire here on this evidence that's now been
definitely a
brought
voir
in front of the jury.
A boudoir.
And then we close down the courtroom, and
All right.
the jury leaves, and I say, Your Honor, I now make an order to show cause to withdraw as counsel from my client and one for
Thank you.
fees against my client.
Wow. And
The
I
judge
will allow
says,
it.
granted, and I say, goodbye.
So say
Granted. Granted. And now I just want to know, we're going to bring the jury in real quick. Jury, would you have ruled in favor or against Matt Hunt?
I believe we have a hung jury.
Wow.
How
A
well
well-hung jury. There they are, everybody. So,
Tom, wait, Tom's the foreman. Tom,
Tom?
I concur.
he concurs. We have a hung jury. And I'm going to call it a mistrial.
Well done.
How did we do, Josh?
Attorney's fees awarded to plaintiff's counsel against his own client.
Wow.
Bye-bye.
Executive producer Dick Wolf. Okay.
Love it. Love it. That was good.
Wolf, yeah.
Well done. Well done.
That was good.
If somewhere in that silliness was a real display of lawyerly appreciation there.
Certainly not from us.
Only from him.
It never is.
Okay, Josh, let's do one more thing here.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume because you're a lawyer, you're good at identifying when people are lying. So we're each going to go around the room and say something to you, and it could be a truth or it could be a lie.
Ooh.
And let's see if you can decipher it. All right.
That's interesting.
Should we think for a second? I know I'm
Yes.
throwing this out there. No, Matt doesn't want to think.
Matt's-
Matt never
Matt's
really
ready
does.
to go. Matt never
Okay.
thinks. It's good.
When I was little, after seeing Jurassic Park for 3 consecutive summers, I would dream that I was chased by a velociraptor.
How old were you when you first saw this?
That I was around 7 or 8.
What year would that have been?
1997,
And what grade were you in?
3rd grade, 4th grade.
He's lying.
Matt, are you lying?
I am not lying, but I am also a sociopath. So that's,
Oh, okay, good. Yep.
All right. Josh.
Unpredictable.
yep.
All right, Joe.
I've been mugged 3 times my entire life.
Hang on.
Is that true?
Wait, what did he say? Like,
Wait.
it's cool. I wasn't mugged 10 times. Only 3.
Only 3, but still.
Well, the laugh behind it. Just
Well,
because-
don't take that seriously. I laugh literally
randomly.
every-
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough. All right. How old were you when the first one happened?
10
Where did you live?
in Brooklyn
Okay.
in an apartment building
Where did the mugging occur?
in front of my apartment building.
Where was that? Brooklyn's a big place.
Oh, along an Ocean Parkway.
Okay. And how did it occur?
I was riding my Razor scooter. Just came out. I was really happy to get it, and 3 kids came up to me.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 10.
How old are you now?
31.
He's lying.
I am not lying.
Oh, Josh!
Oh, man. I didn't think they had razors that long
Yeah,
ago.
these are outlandish stories, to be fair.
Sure.
But they had razors 20 years ago?
No. Joe's Lebanese. He's talking about an actual razor for his face. He was very hairy.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a little unsure about the date.
Oh, okay.
And Joe's Armenian.
So it's not-
Your premise was that you've been mugged 3 times.
Yes, that is true. And I was riding a razor scooter, but I'm not sure if I was 10. I just had to.
Oh, okay.
So you did lie.
So
So Joe, you're not.
So that's true.
killing
Yeah.
the
Okay,
Good
you're
job.
right.
In some sense, you lied.
In
okay.
some sense, I did lie.
Fair enough.
Okay. Here's a fast one. I'm a lefty.
I think you're telling the truth.
Very good. I am a lefty.
Cool.
Not many questions you asked.
You
with
guys
that,
have one
I
there
guess.
yet? Taylor,
I've
you got
seen
one?
him do things before, and I remember that he's a lefty.
Okay.
Just
Taylor?
because I had personal experience with him, so I just remembered that. Sorry.
That's easy. I collect DVDs for fun.
What kind of DVDs?
All sorts of DVDs, mostly B horror movie things that you haven't seen before.
When did you
Don't
start?
ask me about it.
When did you start this?
About 7 years ago.
Where do you get them from?
Mostly eBay, dollar store a lot of times, Best Buy.
Josh is making a face like he smells something bad.
Okay, what do you mean by B movies?
Like crappy films like
She means B movie with Jerry Seinfeld.
Every version of the B movie with Jerry Seinfeld.
I'm not sure what.
copies of
Yeah.
B movie. This is my Korean B movie.
like Felix the Cat, but doesn't actually have Felix the Cat in it. It's some kind of bootleg of something else. And nothing you actually want to see or collect or watch.
And why do you do this?
I'm done. I'll step out. Tom's the one who collects the DVDs. So
You broke her.
I start.
The old
That's fair.
switcheroo.
That's fair. You start diving deep enough, and you're like, "What?"
Right.
yeah.
Because honest to God, if you're doing that, there's like some deep, there's some deep reasons for it. Like there's some kind of interest for that. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do one. One time when I was walking home, I got hit by a car. Then the guy who hit me got out. Ultimately, we ended up shaking hands and walking away.
You said you were walking home
Yes.
to here.
No, in my old house.
Where was that?
Right here, not far from me, a couple blocks from here.
And where were you walking from?
I was walking from the bus.
Okay, this is kind of like in my wheelhouse, so I could depose you for 2 hours on this. But
Okay.
because we're not in the, because it's a podcast, I'll try not to do that.
Okay.
It would be boring.
Yeah, it could be terrible, but this is a good thing because you can take a scenario like this, and an attorney in my business can produce like 300 pages of a deposition transcript.
Okay.
Just based on that scenario. But in any event, where were you earlier that day?
I don't remember where I was coming from.
First of all, well, let me back up. How long ago was this?
It was about, I'd say 6-7 years ago. I think maybe I was coming from school. I would have been at the end of college at that time.
And did you have any injuries?
No,
Where did the car make contact with your body?
my
Show-
hip.
Show us on this
Show
doll
them
where the car touched
No,
it.
my hip. I got hit on my hip. I got knocked over.
You're indicating your right hip. Is that the one that hit you?
Yeah,
Okay. Where on the car did you make contact?
the back bumper. He backed up and hit me.
What kind of car was it?
Oh, I don't remember.
A hard car.
So you're telling me he backed up and hit you?
Yeah,
Why was he backing up?
I don't know. I think
It's an objectionable question, by the way, but I'm just asking it.
No, I don't remember. I think it was like a garbage truck on the street. He was right there. He just didn't look and see me. He just backed up and he bumped me on the hip, and I fell over.
Did you see any indication that he was trying to park the car, or there was a space?
No, he
there,
got out. He
or-
checked. He was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." We shook hands.
What did he check first, John? The car or you?
Me. He saw I fell down.
Good.
And this was a man you've indicated?
Yeah.
What did he look like?
He was an older Middle Eastern dude.
Okay.
Joe? Was
Did
that you?
Was it Joe?
It was me.
Did he speak English?
Yeah, broken.
What kind of car was it? I'm sorry.
It was a black car.
Livery cab?
It might have been a car service car. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, you just planted that in his brain. It was not a car service.
Josh, are you looking for inconsistencies?
Yes. I'm just in the beginning, what you would do is just ask a bunch of questions and see if there's anything that doesn't sound right.
I'll help you here, Josh. Again, John, you said this was a white man?
Then you circle back. Yeah. No, what you do is you ask a bunch of other questions, and then you say, again, what kind of car was it?
Right. Keep
I'm
asking
not
the same
sure.
question. Yeah.
All right, so is he lying?
Actually, he did a good job. It's really difficult to say whether you're lying. If I had another 30 minutes, I could probably determine whether you were lying or not. But right now, I'm going to guess and say that you are lying.
That's correct. I am lying.
Wow.
Because that story happened to Joe. That story did not happen to me.
Oh, he doesn't even know it was him.
talking about mine. Yeah, I knew that.
I
was like, oh wow, it happened.
This happened to you too? Holy shit! Yeah.
I spent the whole story looking over at Joe to see if he would be laughing, and he wasn't laughing. He said, Joe doesn't realize this story
I just found
to
it
him.
amazing that it happened to you, but I wasn't really thinking.
But hold on. Did the guy really back up into you?
Yeah.
Why was he reversing? That's a weird...
No, I was crossing the street, and he made a right turn. It was my light, and he wasn't paying attention. He knocked me over and knocked my cologne that I just bought. And checked on me. We shook hands, as he said, and I walked off.
I'd like to recap here. In this time, you've learned that I'm a lefty, and Joe has been mugged 3 times and run over by a car.
Yes, this is true.
By a car.
That's
You got some
unbelievable.
luck, but wait a second. He didn't back into you though.
No,
he
didn't.
just that
No.
was okay.
Oh my god! Oh my god! No, there was another car in another instance that the person did back up into me. I'm thinking of a different time with a person. Okay.
You got hit twice.
Because that was my problem with
true?
the whole story.
Yeah, I walked, but this one was my fault because I was jaywalking. It was a red light, but I walked behind the car, and then he did back up into me.
Is this
Okay,
true? And you
okay.
fell?
I didn't fall. I almost did. I didn't fall.
How many times have you been hit by a car?
Just those 2.
That's 2 more than most.
Have you ever been hit by a...
Just two run-ins with a car and 3 bunkings. That's it. I swear.
But why did this person back into you?
That's a good question. I think I shook his hand too and I walked off. I don't know.
I know you shook his hand because I remember when it happened. You came then you came after you got hit by him to my house, and you said, "I just got hit by a car on the way over."
What the fuck? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
dude. If you ever get hit by a car again,
Which is likely.
you have to call me.
Okay. How much could we have
I
gotten? for
don't
that?
know.
With no injuries though.
Well, you don't even know if you were injured or not because you never were examined.
That
Sounds like you fell on his head.
How come when people are faking it, they always say that their neck hurts?
It's a good question. I've never taken a case where someone was faking it
No?
in all my years.
You said earlier that when you talk to a jury, the way you would address them.
Mm-hmm.
What are you usually looking for in a juror? Are you allowed to say?
Certainly. I'm looking for someone that, number one, doesn't believe that just because someone is a plaintiff in a personal injury lawsuit, they're full of shit.
How do you know
It's
that?
because I ask them a lot of questions, right? Like one of the big, and my take on jury selection is different than a lot of attorneys. Okay, I don't subscribe to exactly the way a lot of people do it exactly, but my take is if you got a problem, I want to know about it now. I don't want it to be a problem when you're back there deciding whether to give my client money or not. So I'll just ask them, you don't know anything about the case. You don't know the facts about the case. And I'm not allowed to tell you the facts of the case. But what you do know is that my client is the plaintiff. My client is claiming that the defendant did something wrong that injured my client. And we're going to say that because of that, my client is entitled to a certain amount of money damages. Knowing that, before you know any facts about what my client's injuries are or how this accident actually happened, what do you think?
Wow.
Is there a reason why you would find against my client simply based on that information?
I'm thinking of 30 Rock when Tina Fey didn't want to be on jury. Didn't she show up in a Princess Leia costume? Do you get people who try to do weird stuff on purpose so they don't have to do it?
No.
No.
That to me is easy. Because I am the plaintiff's attorney And ultimately, at the end of this trial, I've got to ask these people to give my client money. Now, I believe that if someone doesn't want to be there that desperately, my client at the end of the day is the one making them be there because they're the one bringing the claim. So I don't want them on the jury in the first place.
You want people who love to do it.
Not necessarily love, but people who don't think it's a crock of shit that they're there.
Right.
And a lot of the questions that I ask out front are geared in that direction. Just that, okay, this is jury selection. You are here because these people have a dispute, and this is how our society settles these types of problems. How do you feel about that? Do you think you can serve on this jury? Do you want to serve on this jury? If you're a fair juror and you're selected, is there a reason why you can't serve on this jury? It gives people all the opportunity in the world to give their excuses.
Right.
And that's one of the famous ones. I've tried a lot of cases in Queens. And in fairness, a lot of people in Queens, their first language is not English, right? A lot of times it's some sort of an Asian language. A lot of people from Korea, a lot of people from China. So I'll ask them, do you understand English well enough to participate in this trial, understand what's being talked about, and that we don't have to bring in an interpreter for you because the court's not going to do that? Do you understand it well enough? So let's say they say no. Now, I'm fully aware a lot of these people are lying to me when they say no because they don't...
Because they understood your question.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's two scenarios there. One, they really don't understand it well enough and they're not comfortable with it. Or two, they're lying to me. Either way, I don't want them on my jury.
Right.
So,
how many people will you see to get a 12-person jury?
Well, for civil cases, it's not 12 in New York. It's 8.
Oh, I was thinking 12 angry men. It's all I have to go by. I was
and it's 8, and it's 6 in the main jury, and 2 are alternates. Only 6 people decide.
Josh, can you serve on a jury?
Well, I've been called for jury duty a couple of times. Usually what I do is I will sit there in the main room, and then after I've been there for a couple of hours or whatever, I usually go up and tell them what I do, and they send me home. But as far as actually, can I serve on a jury? Yes. Legally, I can serve on a jury. However, because I've done both criminal defense work and plaintiff's civil work and defense work, I'll never be selected to serve on a jury. No.
So would you put any of the 6 of us on your jury?
Look at
No.
us. Let's get
No,
away
no,
from our...
no.
No, wait,
No,
Josh. Let's
not
get
a
away
one
from
of
our
you.
mics.
No.
Look at us nice.
Actually, all of you have the potential to serve on a jury.
Because we're breathing.
But all of you have the potential to not serve on a jury.
Because we're idiots.
I never ever say until I go through the rigmarole of the questioning and everything and get the responses back that I know.
Okay.
Unless someone is just a complete degenerate or like, you know.
So Joe's out.
Right here.
Maybe they look like Joe or something, you know.
That's profiling, but it's true.
But other than that,
I mean, he has been mugged 3 times and hit by a car twice.
Allegedly.
have you ever been in a car accident? That's one of the things I ask.
Oh, yeah?
And if he told me those stories about him getting hit, this is a great example.
You'd want him.
No.
You wouldn't want him because he's sympathetic
Hell
to getting
no.
hit by a car.
Yes, if you're the kind of person who gets hit by a car and gets up and shakes the person's hand
Right.
and walks away, as a plaintiff's attorney,
You
you're
don't
the
want that.
last person I want on the jury.
Right. You want a guy who still has a little fender
You gotta
stuck in his
sue.
leg.
You gotta sue that asshole. If he hits you with a
yeah.
car, you gotta sue him.
Yeah.
We could go on and on about laws that don't make sense and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's really out of our hands, I guess. You have to work within the system.
Well, now that's another good point because a lot of times clients will say something like, "Why did this happen?" or "Why does it work this way?" or whatever, and a lot of times I do simply have to tell people I'm just an attorney.
Right. I can't. I don't write the laws.
I don't make the laws.
Right.
I don't control the system. Probably the number one question I get asked is, "Why is my case taking so long?"
Right.
You know, what the hell's going on? My accident happened 3 years ago. That kind of thing.
This, real quick, what I wanted to say before you had... real quick, let's talk about religion for a second.
Okay.
No, you mentioned before something that I wanted to lead into. A lot of laws go back pretty far. We're talking far AD far. Do you think that a lot of what this is be a good person, right? That's what laws are. That's what religion is. They cross over pretty closely.
No meat on Fridays.
That's not.
Is that a law?
I don't think that's a law. But do you think it's a coincidence? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I know it's not really a lawyer thing, but you work within the parameters of the law. You obviously have to study law. As a person who knows the law, do you think that's coincidental, or that those laws really do tie pretty closely back to those old like biblical laws that because we follow? Those are the things. If you look back, the things that they say are the laws that we follow still today, and we've made them a requirement.
No, it's certainly a valid point, and I think if you take a step back and think about it, both religion and the law are trying to do very similar things in that they're both trying to govern human behavior.
Sure.
To an extent, if you think about it, why do you have religion? If you're not a religious person and you look at a society from the top down, why would a society develop a religious code of whatever type? And why would they develop a legal code? They're both kind of coming from really similar places, I think. I think anytime you get a group of people together, however they are grouped, they're going to either come up with religion, law, or both to sort of govern themselves and say what should happen to people. So just in that sense, I think there's going to be some natural overlap. One important thing that people in the law say and people in history say is you can never assume someone 2,000 years ago was any dumber than anyone that exists now. So they're going to come up with sort of similar ideas. Is it bad to kill your neighbor? Yes. Well, from a religious standpoint, is it bad to kill your neighbor? Yes, because God said so. Well, from a legal standpoint, it's because we need some order. Right. And if your neighbor pisses you off, you can't just go bash him with a club. So in that sense, I think there's always going to be some logical overlap.
Right. He's a modern day philosopher.
Yeah. Well, I think something that's interesting, though, if you think back, is that we're so used to there being some sort of law, right? And you can assume without law that as a society sort of devolves, I would imagine. But what's our reference point? When was there no law? I don't know. When?
Well, when did it all start? You know, what Thomas Hobbes say, before
Calvin and
before society, life was nasty, Brutus, and short. Is that true? Well, maybe, but none of us really know. Probably the first thing, if you're going back to like hunter-gatherer days, what happened when the first few families got together? Well, we've all got to behave a little bit.
Sure.
And if we're going to behave, there's got to be some sort of a code.
But you have to behave for the survival of the whole.
Yes.
For the survival. You can't go rogue because then they got to cut you out.
Correct. And that's in your own self-interest. If you do go rogue, then you're going to have to roam in the woods and you're probably going to get starved or eaten by something.
Right.
So it's in everybody's interest to follow the rules. But you still got to have rules. If you don't have rules, you don't have anything.
Yeah, because then you devolve. Because then everybody has their own freedom to make their own choices, but there has to be some uniformity. Right. So the whole thing could move forward.
It's in everyone's self-interest to have rules.
Right.
That everybody, whatever you call them, whether it's religion, law, or whatever. Now, where does that originate? Hell, I don't know how the hell would you find that out.
Right.
It's human nature to...
Right. Well, I wanted to just bring in Danielle is here. She
Hi,
just
Danielle.
joined us.
Wow.
And we're going to wrap up right now.
Glad you're here.
We got
Nice.
your answer before, but
Thanks for making it.
I'd like you to explain to Danielle real quick
why you're not a
scumbag.
scumbag.
Danielle wanted to know why you were a scumbag.
Oh.
I didn't say why
First
you
of all-
are a scumbag. I asked.
Are
if
you a
Also,
you
Danielle, this is
are
Josh.
A scumbag.
Are you a scumbag?
Right.
That's the most important.
And Josh
part.
said no.
Good.
There you go.
Actually, did I say no?
You did.
Yeah, you did say no.
I
No,
thought I
he
said
said
yes.
no, but he knows people
No,
who
you
are.
said you know people who are.
Oh, right. Maybe.
Oh, well, if only we had a
Fair
stenographer here.
Yes.
We could look back.
Thanks,
What the hell?
Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor. You did good.
You and your
All right, well, I
grandmother.
want to thank you for coming in.
Thanks for
I
having me.
want
This
to
is
thank you for
interesting.
sitting with us. Yeah, no.
Next time we're gonna play. Just sit back and play Sebastian Maniscalco clips.
100%,
Okay.
We're going
That's
to
fine.
listen
to
someone else's
him
stuff.
and comment on him. I
Yeah,
really
that's-
think that'd be a great show idea.
Definitely.
We have to do that.
definitely.
So should we go around and we will all say something we learned from you?
Go ahead, Matt. What did you learn?
Banana peels won't make me money.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
fair enough.
Joe, what did you learn?
I learned that I probably shouldn't have shaken that guy's hand who hit me with his car.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
a great life lesson.
I learned that Joe thinks the past tense of shook is shaked.
Oh, that's big. That's important to take out from this episode. Tree Frog Tom, what do you think?
You should know that pasta water is dangerous.
Pasta water is dangerous.
dangerous,
Taylor, what
yeah.
did you learn?
I learned to take Josh's business card before we leave.
Oh. I want to just say I learned that law has many different degrees of varying importance. That's a real one. And we're gonna close out. Danielle, what did you learn?
That you are not a scumbag?
That's right. Very good. Very good. All right. So we want to thank you again for coming in, and I think we all had a very interesting time here. Let's get a round of applause going for Josh Lockamy, attorney at law. Yes, thank you, Danielle.
You've been listening to the Nothing Podcast with Nobody Important, a cool side production, hosted by John Panepinto and Frank Caiati, with contributors Matt Hunt, Joe Hagopian, and me, Danielle Rose Fisher, and engineered by Tom Zaccheo. Find us online at nothing-podcast.com, and be sure to rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are distributed.